Hello, everyone. Welcome back. You are tired. Not just tired from work, not just tired from a long week. You are tired in a deeper way. Tired from always trying, always pushing, always planning what comes next. You wake up in the morning and already your mind is full of things to do, full of problems to solve, full of people to please. And no matter how hard you try, it never feels like enough. This is a graded lesson for English learners who love deep, quiet ideas. And today, the idea comes from one of the oldest books ever written. It is called the Tao Te Ching. It was written more than 2,500 years ago by a quiet Chinese sage named Lao Tzu. The book has 81 chapters. Some chapters are only a few lines long. No complicated arguments. No long explanations. Just simple, quiet truth. And yet this small book has changed the lives of millions of people across centuries. Here is what it teaches. You do not need to try harder. You need to stop fighting. Stop fighting your work. Stop fighting other people. Stop fighting yourself. Because here is what most people never learn. Life is not a battle to be won. It is a river to be followed. By the end of this lesson, the way you face your life will change. You will see that the harder you push against the current, the more exhausted you become. And you will discover a different way, a quieter way. A way that is 2,500 years old and more powerful than anything the modern world has taught you. Stop fighting life. Start flowing with it. If that idea speaks to you, subscribe right now. There is so much more coming and you do not want to miss it. Let us begin. Lesson 1. A very long time ago in ancient China, there was a man who worked in a library. Not a famous library, not a royal palace, just a quiet building where the government kept its records and books. His name was Lao Tzu. And for most of his life, nobody knew who he was. He was not a king. He was not a general. He did not lead armies or build cities. He just read. He watched. He thought. And slowly, quietly, he understood something that most people around him never did. He understood the way the world actually works. Not the world of politics, not the world of money and power, the deeper world. The world of rivers and seasons. The world of how trees grow and how water moves. The world of how things happen naturally, without force, without fight. And then one day, Lao Tzu decided to leave. He was old. He was tired of watching people suffer, tired of watching them fight each other for power, for land, for pride. He packed his few belongings and headed west toward the mountains, toward the edge of the known world. But at the city gate, a guard stopped him. The guard recognized the old man. He knew Lao Tzu was wise, and he made him a simple request. Before you go, the guard said, please write down what you know. Lao Tzu sat down, and in a short time, he wrote 81 short chapters, 5,000 Chinese characters, a book so small you could read it in one afternoon, a book so deep you could spend your whole life studying it. That book was the Tao Te Ching. Today, the Tao Te Ching has been translated into more languages than almost any other book in history. Scholars say it is second only to the Bible in the number of translations. Philosophers study it. Scientists read it, athletes use it, business leaders keep it on their desks, and most people have never heard of it. Here is what most people miss. They think wisdom has to be loud. They think a great book must be long and complicated. They think if something is important, someone must already be talking about it. But real wisdom is quiet. It does not shout. It does not trend on social media. It just sits there, patient as a river, waiting for the right person at the right moment. Maybe that moment is now. Maybe that person is you. The word Tao is hard to translate. In English, people often say it means the way, but it is more than a path you walk on. It is the natural order of everything. The way water flows downhill. The way seasons change without anyone telling them to. The way your lungs breathe without you thinking about it. The Tao is always moving, always working, always in balance. And it never forces anything. That is the first lesson. The universe does not struggle, and yet everything gets done. A person who follows the Tao does not struggle either. They do not push against life. They move with it like a leaf on a river, going where the current takes it, without resistance, without fear. The question the Tao asks you is simple. Why are you fighting so hard? Lesson 2. There is a word in the Tao Te Ching that changes everything once you understand it. The word is Wu Wei. In Chinese, it means something like non-action or effortless action. But that translation can be confusing because Wu Wei does not mean doing nothing. It does not mean being lazy. It does not mean giving up. Wu Wei means doing things without forcing them. It means acting in harmony with the natural flow of life, the way a river flows around a rock instead of crashing into it, the way a seed grows into a tree without trying, the way the sun rises every morning without anyone asking it to. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you forced something, forced a conversation that was not ready, forced a decision that needed more time, forced a relationship to work when it was already broken, forced yourself to keep going when everything inside you was saying stop? And what happened? You push. Life pushes back, you push harder. Life pushes harder. That is not strength, that is war. And in that war, you are always the one who gets tired first. This is the opposite of Wu Wei. And most of the modern world lives this way every single day. Look at the culture we live in now. Hustle harder. Sleep is for the weak. If you are not growing, you are dying. These ideas are everywhere. On social media, in business books, in the advice of people who want you to believe that more effort always equals more results. But Lao Tzu saw this trap 2,500 years ago. He watched people exhaust themselves trying to control things that could not be controlled. He watched leaders force their will on others and wonder why everything fell apart. He watched people chase happiness so desperately that happiness ran further away. And he wrote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. A bamboo tree does not force itself to grow. It bends in the wind instead of breaking. It waits for rain instead of demanding it. And slowly, quietly, it becomes one of the strongest plants on earth." There was a man who understood this better than almost anyone in the 20th century. His name was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was one of the greatest fighters who ever lived. But what made him great was not just his speed or his strength, it was his philosophy. And that philosophy came directly from the Tao. He said, "Be water, my friend. Water does not fight the shape of the cup. It becomes the shape of the cup. Water does not argue with the rock in the river. It flows around it. Water does not try to be powerful. It simply moves. And over time, Water carves through mountains. That is Wu Wei. Not passive, not weak, endlessly patient, and quietly unstoppable. So, how do you use this in real life? The next time you feel yourself forcing something, stop, take a breath. Ask yourself one question. Am I pushing against the current right now, or am I flowing with it? If a conversation is going badly, maybe it is not the right time for that conversation. If a project is stuck, maybe it needs space, not more pressure. If you are exhausted, maybe the answer is not to try harder. Maybe the answer is to do less, but do it better. Wu Wei is not giving up. It is choosing your energy wisely. It is understanding that the tree that bends in the storm survives. The tree that refuses to bend breaks. Stop fighting life. Start flowing with it. The river always reaches the sea, not by force, but by following its own nature. You can do the same. Lesson 3. Lao Tzu had a favorite symbol. Not a sword, not a mountain, not a flame burning bright and strong. Water. Of all the things in the world, Lao Tzu returned to water again and again in the Tao Te Ching. And when you understand why, something inside you shifts. He wrote, "Nothing in the world is as soft and gentle as water. Yet nothing is better at breaking down the hard and the strong." Think about that for a moment. A river does not look powerful. It is clear, it is quiet, you can put your hand right through it. And yet, given enough time, a river carves the Grand Canyon. Drop by drop, year by year, a soft thing cuts through solid rock. That is not weakness. That is the deepest kind of strength. Stay with me. Now think about the people in your life who seem the most confident, the ones who never seem to panic, the ones who stay calm when everything around them is falling apart. What do they have in common? They do not need to prove anything. They do not raise their voice in arguments. They do not rush to defend themselves when someone criticizes them. They do not spend their energy trying to control what other people think. They are like water. They flow around the obstacle instead of crashing into it. And here is the quiet truth that Lao Tzu understood about strength. A person who needs to show you they are strong is usually not that strong. A person who needs to win every argument is usually not that confident. A person who fills every silence with their own voice is usually not that comfortable with themselves. Water does not argue. Water does not compete. Water does not stop. It just moves quietly, consistently, toward where it needs to go. This is one of the hardest lessons for modern people to learn. We are taught from a young age that strength means being loud, being aggressive, taking up space, fighting back when someone pushes you. But Lao Tzu says the opposite. He says the highest good is like water, which benefits all things and does not compete. Think about what it means to not compete. Not with your colleagues, not with your neighbors, not with strangers on the internet who seem to have more than you. When you stop competing, something remarkable happens. You stop feeling small because you are no longer measuring yourself against others. You are simply moving like water in your own direction at your own pace. Warren Buffett once said that the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. He did not build one of the greatest fortunes in history by forcing the market. He did not panic when prices fell. He did not shout when others were afraid. He simply waited. He trusted the process. He moved like water, steady and quiet, while everyone around him crashed like waves. That is the Tao in action, in the real world, in the 21st century. Here is something to try. The next time someone says something that makes you angry, do not respond right away. Wait, breathe. Let the moment pass like water moving past a rock. You do not have to react to everything. You do not have to defend yourself every time. You do not have to win. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply flow. Because water always finds its way through any barrier, around any wall, under any door. It does not need permission. It does not need applause. It just moves forward, soft and certain, until it reaches where it is going. You can live that way too. Lesson 4. There is a chapter in the Tao Te Ching that most people read and then read again because it seems almost too simple to be true. Lao Tzu writes about a wheel. A wheel has 30 spokes. They all connect to the center hub. But what makes the wheel useful is not the spokes. It is the empty space at the center where the axle goes. He writes about a clay bowl. What makes the bowl useful is not the clay. It is the empty space inside that holds the water. He writes about a room. What makes a room useful is not the walls. It is the empty space inside where you can actually live. Now think about this. We spend our whole lives filling things up, filling our schedules, filling our phones with apps, filling our homes with things we do not need, filling every quiet moment with noise, a podcast while we cook, music while we walk, a video while we eat, scrolling before we sleep. We are afraid of emptiness. We treat silence like a problem to be solved. But Lao Tzu says, emptiness is not a problem. Emptiness is the point. A busy mind cannot think clearly. A full schedule leaves no room for the unexpected good thing. A life packed with noise has no space for a real thought to form, no space for a feeling to be felt, no space for a new idea to arrive. You cannot pour water into a cup that is already full. Now think about the most creative people you know or have read about, the writers, the inventors, the problem solvers. Almost all of them say the same thing when asked where their best ideas come from. Not from their busiest moments, not from back-to-back meetings, not from staring at a screen for 10 hours. Their best ideas come in the shower, on a long walk, in that quiet moment just before sleep. Why? Because in those moments, the cup is finally empty and something new can come in. Busyness has become a kind of status symbol in modern life. People say, I am so busy, the way they used to say, I am doing well, as if being busy means being important. As if having no free time means your life is full. But a life with no empty space is not a full life. It is a cluttered one. Busy people fill every moment with activity. Wise people protect their empty spaces. This does not mean doing nothing all day. It means building pockets of silence into your life on purpose. 5 minutes in the morning before you check your phone. A short walk with no music, no podcast, just you and the world around you. An evening where you sit quietly and let your thoughts arrive without chasing them. These are not wasted moments. These are the moments where your best self shows up. Lao Tzu was not telling us to be lazy. He was telling us that the space between things is just as important as the things themselves. The pause between notes is what makes music beautiful. The space between words is what gives them weight. Your life needs that space too, not as a luxury, not as a reward for when the work is done, as a foundation, as the empty center of the wheel that makes everything else turn. Lesson 5. There is a kind of strength that the world does not celebrate. It is not the strength of the person who fights back hardest. It is not the strength of the person who never backs down. It is not the strength of the loudest voice in the room. It is the strength of the person who knows when to yield. The Tao Te Ching calls this principle Nu Xing Gang. It means the soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. And it is one of the most misunderstood ideas in all of philosophy, because we have been taught that yielding means losing. We have been taught that if someone pushes you, you push back. If someone criticizes you, you defend yourself. If someone challenges your position, you hold your ground. In offices, in families, in politics, in relationships, the message is always the same. Do not give an inch. Do not show weakness. Never yield. But watch what actually happens to the people who live this way. They are exhausted. They are always in conflict with someone. They cannot let anything go. Every small challenge feels like a personal attack. Every disagreement feels like a war. And the more they fight, the more they find to fight about. Now think about a different kind of person. Someone gives them sharp criticism. They listen. They take what is useful and quietly let go of the rest. Someone tries to provoke them. They smile and say nothing. Someone tells them they are wrong. They consider it calmly. And if they are indeed wrong, they change. If they are not, they simply move on. These people are not weak. They are free. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men who ever lived. He was the emperor of Rome. He commanded armies. He governed millions of people. And yet he wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He did not say fight everything that stands against you. He said master your own reactions first. That is yielding, not surrendering to the world, surrendering to the only thing you can truly control, yourself. Here's the truth that Lao Tzu understood and Marcus Aurelius confirmed 2 continents away in a different century in a different language. If you react to every insult, you are a slave to others. If you react to every problem, you are a slave to the world. If you react to every fear, you are a slave to yourself. Freedom is not found in winning every battle. Freedom is found in choosing which battles matter. A tree that is completely rigid breaks in a strong wind. A tree with flexible branches bends, survives, and keeps growing. The storm cannot destroy what it cannot grip. And the person who can yield, who can bend without breaking, is the person who is still standing when the storm passes. This does not mean you never speak up. It does not mean you let people walk over you. There is a time to act and a time to wait. The Tao teaches you to know the difference. The wise person saves their energy for what truly matters. They do not waste it on small provocations. They do not burn themselves out defending their ego. They move through the world lightly, respond only when it counts, and act from a place of calm instead of fear. Stop fighting life. Start flowing with it. That is not giving up. That is growing up. If this lesson is speaking to you right now, hit subscribe. There are 2 more lessons left, and they are the ones that bring everything together. Lesson 6. Lao Tzu had a word for the state that every human being is born into. Pu. It is usually translated as the uncarved block. Imagine a piece of wood before anyone touches it, before any tool shapes it, before any hand decides what it should become. In that moment, the wood is complete. It is whole. It contains every possibility. That is Pooh. That is you before the world got involved, before your parents told you what kind of person to be, before your school told you what to value, before your culture told you what success looks like, before social media told you what your life should look like compared to everyone else's. You were whole. And then piece by piece, you were carved into something smaller. Lao Tzu says the wise person returns to Pooh, not by rejecting the world, but by stripping away what was never truly theirs, by becoming simpler, quieter, more themselves. This is one of the most radical ideas in the Tao Te Ching, because everything around us pushes in the opposite direction. More, bigger, louder, faster. Show people what you have. Show them what you know. Make sure they see you. Make sure they remember you. Build your personal brand. Optimize your life. Upgrade everything. But Lao Tzu asks a quiet question underneath all that noise. Who are you when nobody is watching? Not the version of you that performs for others. Not the version that tries to impress. Not the version shaped by comparison and competition. Just you. Simple. Uncarved. Real. The person who needs to perform for others has lost touch with Pooh. The person who is the same whether or not anyone is watching has found it. Steve Jobs read the Tao Te Ching. Those who knew him said it shaped the way he thought about design, about products, about life. And the philosophy of Apple at its deepest level is a Taoist philosophy. Remove what is unnecessary. Keep only what serves. Make things so simple that nothing can be taken away. That is not just good design. That is a way of living. Think about the things you own that you do not need, the commitments you carry that do not belong to you, the opinions you defend that you did not actually choose for yourself, the image you maintain for people whose approval you do not even truly want. What would happen if you put them down? Not all at once, just one thing, one small thing that is not really you. What would happen if you stopped carrying it? Lao Tzu says something that sounds almost too simple. He says to know others is wisdom. To know yourself is enlightenment. Most people spend their lives studying the world outside, reading about other people, watching other people, comparing themselves to other people. But they have spent almost no time in the quiet company of their own mind. They do not know what they actually want. They know what they are supposed to want. They do not know what actually brings them peace. They know what looks peaceful to others. That gap between the life you are performing and the life that is truly yours is where most human unhappiness lives. The Tao does not ask you to become someone different. It asks you to become more fully who you already are. To return to the uncarved block. To stop adding things that do not belong. To let yourself be simple, honest, and whole. Because the most powerful version of you is not the most complicated one. It is the most real one. Lesson 7. Everything we have talked about today sounds beautiful. Wu wei, water, emptiness, simplicity. But you might be sitting there thinking, how do I actually do this? How do I take a philosophy written 2,500 years ago and bring it into my real life with my real job, my real family, my real problems? That is a fair question. And Lao Tzu would appreciate it. Because the Tao is not meant to stay on the page. It is meant to be lived. So here are 5 small ways to bring the Tao into your daily life. You do not need to change everything. You do not need to become a monk or move to the mountains. You just need to begin. One small thing at a time. The first one is this. Tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, sit still for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. No music, no news, no social media, just you in the quiet morning. Let your mind wake up on its own. Let the thoughts come without chasing them. This is Wu Wei in the morning. This is creating empty space before the world fills you up. Most people start their day by immediately pouring the noise of the whole world into their minds. The Tao says, start from stillness. Everything flows better from there. The second one, when someone criticizes you today, wait before you respond. Not forever, just a breath. 2 breaths. Let the first wave of reaction pass. Then ask yourself, is there something true in what they said? If yes, take it and grow. If no, let it go like water off a stone. You do not have to defend yourself every time. You do not have to win every exchange. Be water. Flow around it. The third one. At some point today, ask yourself this one question. Am I forcing this, whatever you are working on? Whatever conversation you are trying to have, whatever situation you are trying to control, just stop and ask, am I pushing against the current right now? Because if you are, the Tao says stop, wait. Let the right moment come to you. Not every door needs to be broken down. Some doors open on their own when the time is right. The fourth one. Tonight, find 30 minutes with no screen. No phone, no television, no laptop. Just sit. Or walk outside. Or read something on paper. Let your mind wander without direction. This is the empty space that Lao Tzu wrote about. This is where your clearest thoughts live. This is where the real you shows up quietly when everything else goes silent. The fifth one, before you sleep, ask yourself one question. Was I real today? Not did I achieve enough? Not did I impress anyone? Just was I real? Did I act from my true self or from the image I try to show the world? The more honestly you can answer that question, the closer you are to Pu. The closer you are to the uncarved block. The closer you are to the Tao. 5 small things. That is all. Not a revolution, just a beginning. Because the Tao does not ask you to change overnight. It asks you to begin moving in the right direction. Like water, quietly, consistently, one day at a time. Stop fighting life. Start flowing with it. That is the whole teaching. Everything else is just detail. 2,500 years ago, a quiet old man sat down at a city gate and wrote 81 chapters. He did not shout. He did not argue with anyone. He did not build an empire or lead an army. He just wrote the truth. Simply, clearly, without force. And the world is still reading. The Tao Te Ching has survived wars and the fall of dynasties. It has traveled across oceans and centuries. It has been read by emperors and monks, by artists and scientists, by people who were lost and people who were searching. Because the truth it contains does not belong to any one time or any one place. Wu Wei teaches you to act without forcing. Water teaches you to be strong without hardness. Emptiness teaches you that space is not nothing. It is everything. And Pooh teaches you that the most powerful version of you is the most real one. These are not ideas to memorize. They are ways to live. So take one of them with you today, just one. The one that hit you the hardest, the one that felt most true. Carry it quietly like water carries the shape of the riverbed, and let it do its work. Stop fighting life, start flowing with it. Which lesson stayed with you the most today? Was it Wu Wei? The power of emptiness, the uncarved block. Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video brought something into your life, share it with one person who needs it. Not because the algorithm wants you to, but because that is what the Tao asks of us. Pass the good thing on. Keep coming back, English learners. Every story, every lesson, your mind grows a little more. See you in the next one.